And now to the New Jersey father locked in a high-profile international custody case. We're going to speak with David Goldman in just a moment. But first, NBC's Jeff Rawson has the latest on his case. Jeff, good morning.
Hi, Meredith. Good morning. Sadly, David Goldman is here again without his son, Sean. But the battle may be close to over. On his side, you have President Obama, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and now even Brazil's highest court says enough is enough. Boarding another flight to Brazil, David Goldman still dreams of a father-son reunion.
Maybe the end is getting closer.
Almost 5 years to the day, it remains only a dream. June 16th, 2004, the day his wife took their son Sean to Brazil and never returned. From Brazil, she divorced David, remarried, got pregnant, and then died during childbirth. Her second husband has been fighting to keep Sean with him.
Just come home. Let him come home.
David's flown to Brazil so many times to fight for his boy, even the pilots are pulling for him.
I was just praying for him on this layover.
Even though David is the only living biological parent, the case has been tied up in Brazil's legal system. Just 2 weeks ago, a Brazilian judge finally sided with David, ruling the right to live with and be raised by one's father is a fundamental element of human dignity. But the case was appealed all the way to Brazil's Supreme Court,
Defesa dos seus interesses.
where late last week they voted unanimously 10-0 in David's favor. The judge's order, they will not block Sean's return to the U.S. The case has been prolonged beyond what is reasonable, one of them said. It's good news for David.
Hopefully this will bring me a step closer to ending this tragedy and returning home with my son.
But instead of sending Sean home, they kicked the case back to a lower appeals court. Another setback.
Every day is a day lost with my son that we'll never get back.
Now the second husband wants Sean himself, a 9-year-old boy, to testify in court.
The process of justice will be completed when Sean is heard.
David fears they've coached Sean to say he doesn't want to come home to the U.S. Even President Obama got involved, discussing the case with Brazil's president, but nothing has worked. David returns to New Jersey alone, again, a place where such amazing memories were made and even more were missed. Here's what's next. David waits for the appeals court to take the case in Brazil. Could be days, could be weeks, no one knows. And with another Father's Day coming up, he's just hoping this will be the last one without Sean. Meredith.
Jeff Rawson, thank you. David Goldman is with us now exclusively. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Meredith.
I know, David, and I'm sure that it is hard to be back in New Jersey without your son one more time, but you did leave Brazil with some good news. The Supreme Court there rejected an effort to keep your son in that country. I know you've had some time to mull this over, to absorb it, David. Are you more optimistic now that you will eventually get Sean back?
I remain hopeful. I remain hopeful. Until we're on the plane and the wheels are up, then I'll be optimistic. But until then, I can only be hopeful.
This case now goes back to a federal court to hear an appeal that was made by the Brazilian man who now claims to be David's father, wants him to stay in Brazil. As Jeff pointed out, there is no timeline as to when that case will be heard. It could be days, weeks, months. What are you hearing?
I think that they wanted to expedite this time. They don't want it to drag on. The courts seem to have gotten the fact that it is an urgent matter. It is a child's life and my life and our life together, and every day that we miss is a day we can never get back. And I hope will be on a fast track.
One of the things, David, that came out of the Supreme Court hearing was the information that 3 court-appointed psychologists had all worked with Sean and questioned Sean, and they all concluded that he was suffering from psychological damage as a result of this dispute. They talked about parental alienation. I know that you're not a psychologist, but what do you understand about that, and have you seen signs of that in your son?
I know that they have been telling Sean for a long period of time that I didn't love him, that I've abandoned him, that I didn't want him, and other things, and even in a more aggressive nature. All untrue. I've been trying to bring him back since the day he was taken. And I know when we have our visits, obviously, well, that was brought out as well, that there's always a person almost right in the middle of us to try to alienate us even further, and trying to create really a condition that is not suitable for a father and son or any parent and their child. They're trying to intimidate him. And after our visits, we're always under surveillance, and if he goes up to the apartment, they start to interrogate him and really pressure him and question him and make him feel like he's not loyal to them if he has any sort of connection that they see with me. It's nothing short of tragic, and the pain to watch your son, your child, as a parent, suffer and not to be able to help them is beyond unbearable.
David, the family, the Brazilian family, Bruna's family, your deceased wife's family, also issued a report from a private psychologist in which Sean is quoted as saying that you and Bruna used to fight a lot, that he wants to stay in Brazil, that he would go crazy in New Jersey because he doesn't have any friends there. Do you want to respond to that?
If he had said that, those were some of the things that you had just mentioned. Those were things that are being programmed for him to speak. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have him up on a television show somewhere in Brazil. You know, they say secrecy of justice, yet they put him on the covers of magazines and recent photos on television here in America. And the next thing will do is put all the pressure on my 9-year-old son.
David Goldman, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.